The acclaimed crime drama In the Heat of the Night, 1988 to 1995, captivated audiences with its compelling storytelling, powerful performances, and thought-provoking themes. Set in the fictional town of Sparta, Mississippi, the series tackled social issues while delivering gripping mysteries. However, as time has passed, 37 actors who brought this beloved show to life have sadly passed away. In this video, we honor their legacies by looking back at their remarkable careers, their impact on the series, and the tragic circumstances of their passing. Join us as we remember the 37 stars of In the Heat of the Night who are gone but never forgotten. Carroll O'Connor took on the role of Chief Bill Gillespie in the Heat of the Night in 1988 at the age of 64, embodying a hardened but evolving Southern police chief confronting deep-seated racial issues. His career spanned decades, winning him acclaim for All in the Family, but his success was overshadowed by personal tragedy. He and his wife, Nancy Fields O'Connor, adopted their son, Hugh, whom they deeply adored. However, Hugh struggled with drug addiction for years, a battle that tormented Carroll. Despite his father's tireless efforts to help him, Hugh succumbed to his demons, dying by suicide in 1995. Carroll was devastated, never fully recovering from the grief. His health declined rapidly, suffering from diabetes and heart disease. Though he continued acting and advocating for stricter drug laws, he was a broken man. On June 21, 2001, at the age of 76, he died from a heart attack at his home in California, his final years defined by sorrow and the unbearable loss of his son. Dennis Lipscomb portrayed Mayor Jim Finley in 1988 at the age of 46, playing a pragmatic and often morally conflicted political figure. The character of Finley was torn between personal ethics and the demands of leadership, reflecting the complex reality of small-town governance. Lipscomb had a promising career, securing roles in War Games, The Day After, and numerous television series, yet he never reached mainstream fame. His personal life was marred by tragedy, 2 failed marriages left him emotionally shattered, and his only son, resenting his absence during childhood, distanced himself from him completely. Financial instability followed, as acting work became scarce, forcing Lipscomb into low-paying jobs to sustain himself. His struggles with alcohol only worsened his decline, contributing to a stroke in his late 60s that left him partially debilitated. On July 30, 2014, he died at the age of 72, alone and forgotten by an industry that had once shown him promise. Hugh O'Connor portrayed Lieutenant Lonnie Jameson in the Heat of the Night from 1988 at the age of 26, playing a loyal and skilled officer. Off-screen, his life was marred by tragedy. As a child, he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma and underwent intense treatment, surviving but suffering from chronic pain. Prescribed drugs for relief, he became addicted, a struggle that haunted him for years. He married Angela Clayton in 1992, and they had a son, Sean, but his addiction strained their marriage. Despite multiple rehab attempts, he felt hopeless. On March 28, 1995, after calling his father one last time, he shot himself at the age of 32. His death left Carroll shattered, leading him to campaign relentlessly against drug dealers, blaming them for his son's demise. Hugh's life, though brief, was marked by immense suffering, making his death one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking tragedies. Howard E. Rollins Jr. debuted as Chief of Detectives Virgil Tibbs in the Heat of the Night in 1988 at the age of 38, portraying an intelligent, methodical detective facing racism and professional challenges. His powerful performance earned acclaim, but his off-screen life was plagued with personal demons. Struggling with drug and alcohol addiction, he faced multiple arrests for possession and DUI, which led to his removal from the show. Despite rehab attempts, he couldn't overcome his addictions, which derailed his promising career. Never married and deeply private, he withdrew from public life, battling legal troubles and declining health. In the early 1990s, he was diagnosed with lymphoma, a disease he kept secret until his final days. Isolated and in pain, he succumbed to complications of the disease on December 8, 1996, at the age of 46, a once brilliant actor lost to addiction, legal troubles, and a tragic decline in health. Bob Penny played Alvin P. Epp in 1990 at the age of 55, bringing a light-hearted and eccentric charm to the show. His character, though minor, added a sense of humor and warmth, making Alvin a memorable presence in the otherwise serious world of law enforcement. Before acting, Penny was an English professor and poet, dedicating decades to academia before pursuing his passion for film. He landed small roles in Forrest Gump and Sweet Home Alabama, yet despite his many appearances, true recognition always eluded him. His personal life was one of quiet solitude. He never married, never had children, and lived alone in Alabama, dedicating his time to literature and local theater. As he aged, health complications made his world even smaller, and he withdrew from public life, his once active presence in the arts fading away. On December 25, 2022, he died at the age of 87. His passing went largely unnoticed, with no major obituary or tributes, mirroring the quiet, uncelebrated life he had lived. Lois Nettleton took on the role of Joanne St. John in the Heat of the Night in 1988 at 61, portraying a compassionate and wise woman who offered guidance and support in a town often torn by tension. Her career spanned decades, yet despite critical acclaim, she never reached the heights of stardom she once aspired to. Love, too, proved elusive. Her marriage to humorist Gene Shepard was rocky, ending in divorce, and she never remarried nor had children, leaving her to navigate life largely alone. Despite her elegance and grace, loneliness haunted her, especially as she aged, with friends and opportunities fading. The final blow came in the form of lung cancer, a cruel fate for a woman who had spent much of her life as a picture of vitality. She passed away on January 18, 2008, at the age of 80, her final years marked by solitude and fading health, a quiet departure from a life that had once shimmered with promise. Carl Weathers joined in the Heat of the Night in 1993 at the age of 45. Taking on the role of Chief Hampton Forbes, a strong and principled leader who brought a new approach to law enforcement. Though he achieved stardom playing Apollo Creed in Rocky, his career suffered from typecasting, and despite steady work, he never regained the same level of fame. His personal life was equally troubled, married 3 times, to Mary Ann, Rona Unsell, and Jennifer Peterson, all ending in divorce. Though he had children, his demanding career often kept him distant, leaving his relationships strained. In later years, his health declined due to heart disease, forcing him into a quieter life away from Hollywood. On February 2, 2024, at the age of 76, he died from atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, his final years marked by professional struggles, health complications, and a sense of isolation. Ted Manson played Elmer in 1989 at the age of 63, portraying a wise and gentle figure who provided comfort and sound advice. Manson had spent decades as a dedicated character actor, appearing in numerous films and television shows, yet he was rarely recognized by name. His personal life was marked by deep pain. His 30-year marriage ended when his wife left him for a younger man, a betrayal that shattered him emotionally. His 2 children, bitter over his absence due to his acting career, gradually cut ties with him, leaving him to navigate old age alone. As his health declined, financial troubles worsened, and he struggled to afford medical care. A lifelong smoker, he developed lung cancer, and the disease quickly took its toll, leaving him frail and unable to work. His final years were spent in a small, lonely apartment, with few visitors and little comfort. On June 1, 2008, he died at the age of 81, slipping away in near anonymity. Fran Bennett played Aunt Rhoda Gibson in 1990 at the age of 53, portraying a wise and nurturing figure who provided comfort to those around her. Despite her strong presence on screen, her personal life was marked by loneliness and professional disappointment. A highly trained actress, she dedicated decades to her craft but was often relegated to minor roles, never receiving the recognition she deserved. She married once, but the relationship was short-lived and ended in divorce, leaving her with no children. As she grew older, the lack of family support weighed heavily on her, and financial instability became an ongoing battle. She withdrew from the industry, retreating into an increasingly isolated life. In her later years, declining health left her dependent on caregivers, but few people remained by her side. On September 12, 2021, she passed away at the age of 84 from natural causes, fading into obscurity, her immense talent largely forgotten by the industry she devoted her life to. Mel Stewart played Calvin Peterson in 1990 at the age of 61, portraying a determined and resilient character who faced life's challenges head-on. Stewart had a long career, with standout roles in Trick Baby, Scarecrow and Mrs. King, and numerous television series, but despite his talent, he was never granted leading roles, always remaining on the sidelines of Hollywood success. His personal life was no less tragic. His marriage ended in a bitter divorce, and his only daughter, resentful of his dedication to acting, refused to reconcile with him. In his later years, he began experiencing memory loss, which worsened into full-blown Alzheimer's, leaving him unable to recognize even his closest friends. His final days were spent in a care facility, confused and alone, the memories of his career lost to the disease. On February 24, 2002, he passed away at the age of 72, his life's work slipping into obscurity alongside his fading mind. Burgess Meredith played Judge Cully in 1993 at the age of 86, bringing his signature gravitas to the role of a stern but fair judge. A Hollywood icon, he experienced great career success, but his personal life was turbulent. He married 4 times, with 3 marriages ending in painful divorces before he finally settled into a fragile 4th union. Though he found stability in his later years, his past was riddled with financial ruin and professional setbacks, including periods of blacklisting that nearly ended his career. As he aged, his mind and body betrayed him. Alzheimer's disease slowly robbed him of his memories, and melanoma ravaged his health. The once brilliant actor became a shadow of himself, unable to recognize loved ones or recall his storied past. On September 9, 1997, he succumbed to complications from his illnesses at the age of 89, spending his final days trapped in a haze of confusion, his once commanding voice silenced forever. Christopher Allport played D.A. Dutton in 1989 at the age of 42, portraying a dedicated district attorney determined to uphold justice. His career was filled with near successes, but he struggled to achieve lasting fame. Though he built a respectable resume, he constantly battled the uncertainty of Hollywood, facing long gaps between roles that strained his confidence. He was married and had 2 children, yet the instability of his career weighed heavily on him, leading to bouts of anxiety and self-doubt. Passionate about the outdoors, he often sought refuge in nature, hoping to escape the pressures of his unpredictable profession. However, his love for adventure turned fatal when he was caught in an avalanche while skiing in California. On January 25, 2008, at the age of 60, he was buried under tons of snow, his body discovered only hours later. His sudden and violent death left his family shattered, cutting short a life spent tirelessly searching for stability and success. Pat Hingle played Daddy Roy Eversole in the Heat of the Night in 1993 at the age of 69, portraying a strong yet tender father figure. A respected character actor, he was best known for playing Commissioner Gordon in Batman and for roles in The Grifters and Splendor in the Grass. However, his career was nearly derailed in 1960 when he fell down an elevator shaft, suffering multiple fractures that left him in chronic pain. His first marriage to Alice Faye Dorsey ended in divorce, and while his second wife, Julia Wright, remained with him, his struggles with painkillers and mood swings created a difficult home life. He had 3 children, but his career kept him distant, leading to strained relationships. In his final years, he battled myelodysplasia, a form of blood cancer, enduring exhausting treatments that left him frail. He passed away on January 3, 2009, at the age of 84, after a painful decline, his once powerful presence reduced to whispers of past performances. Chuck Hicks played Red Jack in 1988 at the age of 61, portraying a tough, intimidating character deeply entrenched in the show's darker themes. A former boxer turned stuntman and character actor, Hicks built a career through sheer physical endurance, but his body paid the price. After decades of grueling stunt work, he suffered from chronic pain, with numerous untreated injuries slowly eroding his health. His personal life was equally troubled, his marriage ended in divorce, and without children, he found himself increasingly alone in his later years. As his strength faded, he faced a grim decline, suffering a massive stroke that left him unable to move or speak. Once known for his imposing presence, he became a prisoner in his own body, dependent on caretakers in his final days. On May 4, 2021, at the age of 93, he died from complications of the stroke, his passing barely making headlines, a tragic end for a man who had once embodied raw physical power. Cesare Danova played Father DeMarco in 1992 at the age of 66, portraying a compassionate and understanding priest. In real life, however, his journey was far from serene. A former Italian leading man, he arrived in Hollywood with dreams of stardom, but despite early success, he found himself gradually pushed into supporting roles. His 2 marriages both ended in failure, leaving him emotionally drained and estranged from his children. Though he remained active in acting, his later years were filled with regret over the career heights he never reached. The pressures of an unstable profession and his declining health took their toll, and on March 19, 1992, at the age of 66, he suffered a fatal heart attack. His sudden death was a stark contrast to the enduring presence he had hoped to leave behind, a heartbreaking end for a man who spent his life chasing a dream that always remained just out of reach. Andy Romano played Officer Charles Ryan in 1990 at the age of 54, portraying a steadfast and disciplined police officer. A veteran of both television and film, he built a respectable career with roles in Under Siege, The Package, and countless crime dramas, though he was often typecast and never received the recognition he desired. His marriage to his wife, Mary, lasted over 50 years, but the pressure of financial instability and the constant struggle for work placed strain on their relationship. He had 2 children, yet his relentless pursuit of acting opportunities meant he missed many important moments in their lives. As he aged, roles became increasingly scarce, and he faded from Hollywood's memory, spending his final years in quiet isolation, reflecting on a career that never quite fulfilled him. He passed away from natural causes on September 14, 2022, at the age of 86, his death barely making headlines in an industry that had long moved on from him. Franklin Cover played Tommy Vincent in 1991 at the age of 63, bringing a gentle yet determined presence to the character. Tommy was a man of principle, always striving to do what was right, even when faced with adversity. Cover was best known for his role as Tom Willis in The Jeffersons, but despite years in Hollywood, he never achieved leading man status, always relegated to supporting roles. His personal life was far from the picture-perfect sitcom family. Though married to Mary Bradford for decades, their union was strained by infidelity rumors and emotional distance. The couple had a son, Bradford, who resented his father's absence and later severed ties completely. As Cover aged, health problems mounted, and he struggled with dementia, gradually losing touch with reality. His final years were spent in confusion and isolation, as even his wife distanced herself from his care. On February 5, 2006, he died at 77 due to pneumonia, a lonely end for a man once beloved on television. Kim Hamilton played Ellen Shore in 1991 at the age of 59, embodying a compassionate and resilient character. A pioneering black actress, she broke barriers with appearances in Sanford and Son, The Twilight Zone, and Days of Our Lives, but racism in Hollywood kept her from achieving true stardom. She married actor Werner Klemperer, known for Hogan's Heroes, but their interracial relationship faced constant societal scrutiny, creating tension that contributed to their eventual separation. She never had children, a fact that weighed heavily on her in her later years. As time passed, opportunities dwindled, and despite her talent, she largely disappeared from the public eye. Her final years were marked by declining health and loneliness, with few in the industry acknowledging her contributions. She died of natural causes on September 16, 2013, at the age of 81, leaving behind a legacy that Hollywood never fully appreciated. Shannon Wilcox played Libby Deschamps in 1993 at the age of 50, portraying an independent and determined woman. Throughout her career, she built a steady reputation with supporting roles in Runaway Bride, Love Affair, and numerous television dramas, yet she was never able to break into leading lady territory. Her personal life was filled with heartbreak. Her marriage ended in a bitter divorce, leaving her emotionally shattered and struggling to reclaim stability. She had one daughter, but their relationship remained distant, weighed down by unresolved conflicts and regret. As she grew older, the phone calls from casting directors became less frequent, and her presence in Hollywood slowly faded. Depression took hold, and she withdrew from the industry that had once embraced her. She passed away on September 2, 2023, at the age of 80, her death barely noticed by an entertainment world that had long forgotten her contributions. Bobby Short played Cheese Collins in 1991 at 67, bringing his signature charm and musical prowess to the role. A celebrated cabaret performer, he dazzled audiences at the Carlisle Hotel for decades and found success with albums blending jazz and American songbook classics. Despite his refined public image, he lived a life filled with deep personal struggles. Openly gay in an era of widespread discrimination, he endured years of loneliness, unable to find lasting love. Though beloved in elite circles, mainstream recognition always seemed just out of reach. Diagnosed with leukemia, he continued performing, even as his strength waned. The disease drained him physically and emotionally, yet he refused to let go of the spotlight until he could no longer stand. He died on March 21, 2005, at 80, spending his final days in solitude, his once powerful voice silenced by illness, his passing acknowledged only by a select few who had truly known him. Bruce Kirby took on the role of Deputy Chief Harlan Cassidy in 1990 at the age of 65, portraying a seasoned and by-the-book officer. Cassidy was a man who had seen it all, a dedicated lawman who carried the weight of his department on his shoulders. Kirby was a reliable character actor, appearing in Columbo, L.A. Law, and Stand By Me, but despite his talent, he never broke out of the working actor mold. His personal life was filled with tragedy. His son, Bruno Kirby, also an actor, died of leukemia in 2006, a devastating blow from which Bruce never fully recovered. Though married for decades, grief consumed him, and he withdrew from the world, spending his final years in solitude. As age took its toll, he developed heart disease, and by the end, he could barely walk without assistance. On January 24, 2021, he passed away at 95 from natural causes, having outlived his son but carrying the pain of loss until his final breath. Rosemary Murphy played Joanna Allenby in 1993 at the age of 68, bringing depth and compassion to the role of a woman who had seen the best and worst in people. Murphy was an Emmy-winning actress, known for To Kill a Mockingbird and Eleanor and Franklin, but despite her achievements, her career never quite reached the heights she had hoped. She never married, and rumors swirled that she had suffered multiple heartbreaks, including an engagement that ended in betrayal. Without children or close family, she poured herself into her work, but as opportunities dwindled, loneliness crept in. In her later years, she was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, and as the disease progressed, she withdrew from public life, spending her final months in a hospice facility with no visitors. On July 5, 2014, she died at 89, her passing barely making the news, a quiet end for a woman who had once commanded the screen with her presence. Allan Arbus played Dr. Atwill in 1992 at the age of 74, portraying a compassionate and skilled doctor devoted to his patients. Before acting, he was a successful fashion photographer, but his first marriage to legendary photographer Diane Arbus was marred by her severe depression, leading to her tragic suicide in 1971. Though he remarried and found some stability, the loss haunted him for the rest of his life. His acting career brought moderate recognition, but he never escaped the sorrow of Diane's death or the feeling that his true potential had been left unfulfilled. As he aged, congestive heart failure took its toll, leaving him weak and frail. He passed away on April 19, 2013, at the age of 95, burdened by the ghosts of the past and the quiet realization that he had spent decades chasing a sense of purpose that always seemed just out of reach. Geoffrey Lewis played Captain Brad Jenkins in 1990 at the age of 55, a hardened yet pragmatic leader, unshaken in the face of danger. A prolific character actor, he built a career through sheer persistence, appearing in dozens of films, often alongside Clint Eastwood, but never escaping the shadows of larger stars. He married twice and had 10 children, including actress Juliette Lewis, but his demanding career placed a strain on his family life, leading to emotional distance and failed relationships. Though respected, he was never wealthy, taking on low-budget films to stay afloat. In his later years, health problems arose, and as roles became scarcer, he found himself increasingly forgotten by Hollywood. On April 7, 2015, he suffered a fatal heart attack at 79, passing away quietly, his decades of work reduced to a footnote in the history of cinema. Kevin McCarthy played Harold LaPierre in 1988 at the age of 74, portraying a wise yet weary figure whose counsel was often ignored by those too stubborn to listen. Despite his early success, particularly with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956, his career was marked by frustration as he remained typecast in character roles, never quite breaking into Hollywood's elite. He married actress Augusta Dabney, and they had 3 children, but his relentless dedication to acting left little room for family, causing estrangement. In later years, he struggled with loneliness, outliving many of his contemporaries and watching his industry change beyond recognition. Health problems accumulated, and as work offers dwindled, he faced financial hardships, making occasional appearances more out of necessity than passion. On September 11, 2010, at the age of 96, he died from pneumonia, his once iconic face becoming just another forgotten relic of old Hollywood. Who is your favorite character in the Heat of the Night? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.